Let's now welcome on board Sudip Bandyopadhyay. So much to chat about. Sudeep, hi, afternoon. Good to have you on the show as always. Let's first start off with the telecom stocks. What's the way forward for Vodafone Idea and those investors who may be trapped in the stock?
Well, Aisha, I think I have been maintaining my view that buying Vodafone Idea is like buying a lottery ticket, and to a great extent, it depended on this, AGR issue. Unfortunately, that has not gone in favor, and this is absolutely, I would say, devastating for Vodafone Idea. The kind of cash requirement which they will have on an annual basis on account of the AGR dues is kind of killing. So I think it's real bad news for Voda Idea. The other issue which is plaguing Voda Idea, and I think this is quite different from the this all these AGR dues and fundraising issues, is the operational challenges. I think that has been also acute. And in spite of the fundraising which they did few months back, they have been losing customers month on month, and that is definitely a very very bad thing to persist with. For a retail business on a month on month, losing customer is definitely very bad news. So I think that part needs to be addressed also on a war footing. Yes, all these liquidity challenges are big, but even that operational issue is big. So they need to address both. Of course, now that the Supreme Court verdict is there, they have to go back to the drawing board as far as fundraising is concerned.
Yeah, fundraising becomes imperative for Vodafone Idea because, for that company, there is that financial crisis brewing, so they'll have to figure out a way out of that one. But what else is happening in the market right now? The gaining side, KPR Mill, Rainbow Children, AU Small Finance Bank, Policy Bazaar, United Breweries, these are the stocks doing well. Nuresh, AU Small Finance Bank, after a long time, that one seems to be breaking out a bit. And United Breweries, do you expect it to trend higher?
So AU has also given a short-term breakout, a flag breakout, and although it has been doing well over the last 2 weeks, good follow-up momentum today. So looks interesting. It could go back to 800 levels. United Breweries have a positive bias here. The stock has been consolidating around the 2130, 2150 highs for the last almost 4-5 months. There have been at least 5 to 7 attempts. Today also, it's been taking a resistance around that area. If it sustains 2150 levels, that would be a clean breakout and should actually take it much higher towards 2300, 2400. So that's the possibility, and good volumes today. So that's a positive indication. So setting up for a breakout in the next few sessions.
Okay, that's the take coming in on UBL right now. That stock definitely holding out well. But Sudeep, we've been talking about, the kind of froth building up in this place. And today, the PSUs and, pretty much across the board, they're, really getting thrashed out. Wanted to understand whether you see some continued selling pressure.
Certain pockets, and I have discussed this with you many times, that particularly defense, railways, definitely the valuation was looking rich, and the margin of error was very very limited, and some amount of correction was bound to happen, and pretty much that's what is happening. There have been some reports in the recent past from various research houses whereby the targets have been brought down significantly, particularly in case of Mazagon Dock and the likes. I'm not saying that those are the targets for these stocks, but the fact is they were at an elevated level and some correction was definitely on the cards. Again, I must mention that none of these stocks are bad stocks or they don't have prospects. They all have been doing good. There is a lot of activity in both the sectors and many other sectors where these PSUs are operating, but the valuation needs to be in line with what's happening on ground, and it has run up really, really fast. So bit of correction is part for the course. That's what I will say. One space as far as PSU is concerned where I'm still positive is the power space. I think that's where there is a secular, a structural change which is happening, and that's for the better. Look at NTPC, even in this, and the unlocking of value which is happening through the green energy business. I think it's commendable, and it has moved up, and it is definitely at a place where investors can even now look at acquiring for long term. Some of the power financing companies, though they have been affected by a bit of correction today, still they look good because considering the total power demand and the capacity which is coming up, power finance companies will have a lot of business and profitable business at that. So power finance companies, some of the power companies, and also power ancillary companies for long term can be looked at even at current levels.
In fact, NTPC, the green energy arm, has filed for a DRHP. It's going to be a 10,000 crore rupee IPO, and that's keeping that stock warm. Other than that, of course, I want to check in on what the sugar names as well are up to. A fair amount of buoyancy the last fortnight, and now sources are telling us that the Food Ministry has sent a proposal to increase the ethanol prices by a good 2 to 5 rupees per litre. Not Dhampur, but Balrampur perhaps is going to be the more actively traded one. That should come up for you on your screens next. And Dwarikesh holding out, Balrampur will be up next. AU Bank, ICICI GI, Jubilant Foods, NTPC, these are some of the other green sparks. But Sudip, now that we are officially into the festive season, soon you'll have Navratri, Dussehra, then Diwali. Wanted to understand, where is it that you see some meaningful pickup happen? Because there's clearly a slowdown within passenger vehicles too.
Aisha, there's one space where definitely we are expecting pickup is the two-wheeler space. And Hero Motor comes to mind straight away. I think valuation-wise also, it's in a better place compared to the peers. And they have a significant rural semi-urban business. So I'm expecting pickup as far as Hero MotoCorp is concerned. Also, there are certain pockets of consumption where we believe there will be significant upswing. A couple of FMCG companies comes to my mind. One is Dabur. I think that's one which has got 50% plus business coming from rural India, and I expect a pickup there. HUL also can benefit on the back of rural upsurge. Apart from these, some of the consumer durable names, particularly on the lower end of consumer durable franchise, they should pick up. And some of the retail outlets or retail chains can benefit. And there, I would say some of the smaller retail chains, V-Mart and the likes, will benefit.
Coming in and how the consumption is expected to turn. But hear out what Dr. Sanjeev Goenka, the chairman at RP Sanjeev Goenka Group, had to tell us, because he's talking about how Firstsource is likely to grow 2.5x in terms of the profits by FY28.
Simply put, we expect to increase our profits by 2.5 times in the next 3 years, say by 28. That is the expectation. For that, we need to get to 15% growth and we need to get to 14% margins. We have our building blocks in place where we are looking at our operations. We are looking at mining existing customers and just getting from where we are with, say, 50 of our top clients and getting to about between 5 to 10% wallet share would mean $550 million additional revenue. We are adding new logos, and major wins are now getting to between 2 and 3 a quarter. We've invested in G&A, which is beginning to yield results. Our sales pipeline has grown dramatically from, say, about 400 odd to 740 odd. And we expect that to grow to about, our target is 1.2 billion at least. The onshore-offshore ratio we're working on, and we've improved that, further scope to improve that. Our attrition rates, further scope to improve that. Get into more value accretive and margin accretive businesses, and get into the whole area of change request billing. We've not been doing that. There are a lot of very simple banya unlocks that we are doing to actually increase our margins and increase our revenues. And of course, you're going to use technology, you're going to use things like generative AI and everything that goes with it to add value to the customers, to give a better product to them.
Okay, that's the word coming in from Sanjeev Goenka and, categorically stating that they are indeed expecting to increase profits by good 2.5x, and that's going to be as soon as FY28. But let's get in some BTST trades. We've given up all of our gains for the Nifty as well now. Kunal, what's looking good to trade?
So I'll go with a couple of buy calls. Titan is the stock which is heading towards a breakout. Still looking very calm on this kind of a day. So expecting the stock to confirm breakout in the next couple of days. Buy with a target of 3900. Stop loss to be kept at 3700 mark. And the second would be a buy on HDFC Bank. Again, a stock which has done reasonably well and confirming a breakout of that 1700 mark, which was the previous swing resistance for HDFC Bank. So buy with a target of 1750. Stop loss at 1670.
Right, Naresh, what about your BTST ideas?
So first would be a buy on Jubilant Foods. Good momentum here. Fresh 52-week high. Stop loss at 682. Target price of 700. Second is a buy on Kotak Bank. Continues to be in momentum, crossing the recent few months highs. Stop loss at 1850. Target price of 1900.
That's the latest coming in with respect to the BTST ideas that you have at this point of time. Yes, the markets have given up, but not KPR Mills. That one continues to gain ground. In fact, that's up a solid 10% as we speak. Concord Biotech has taken a bit of a spring in its step. That stock too has perked up in the last few minutes. I'm also watching out for Avenue Supermarts. Let's bring up the intraday chart of Avenue Supermarts. Is it actually showing the kind of move that my screen is suggesting? Yes, that stock has moved up. Kunal, I think we haven't seen Avenue move up in a while. Is this backed by good volumes as well? And does that indicate any sort of breakout for the coming times?
Not major volumes in the last half an hour, but yeah, I think the stock has been trading with a very positive bias over the last 2-3 months. I think from 3700 mark, I think mid of March somewhere, the stock has just about gone into a uptrending mode quite well. Yes, there have been chunks of phases where the volumes have managed to move up higher, and the stock has moved up its base or a support from 3700 mark to 4500 levels. The recent swing low for the stock, which was I think 1 week back, was around the 5100 levels. So I think it has this tendency of trying to pull the support up higher, and the volumes on phases tends to do pretty well for DMart. But I think it's a stock which is again showing signs of clear trend. So with 5100 as a closing base stop loss, I think traders can hold on to long positions over here.
Okay, that's that on Avenue. That's where you're seeing a big spike up actually take place. While amongst the large cap, it continues to be NTPC, Nestle, Kotak Bank, which are holding out. It's fizzled out for a Hindalco, for a Divi's, for a Telecom, for an M&M. Kunal, what about the metals trade? Is that going to hold through?
Yeah, it's a more of a positional trade for metal stocks, because my sense is that these stocks are getting into a zone where they are identifying a couple of leaders like JSPL and JSW Steel, which have been rank outperformers over the last 2-3 weeks. And then once these stocks get back into a breakout mode, it's where the other stocks, which have been huge underperforming names, Tata Steel, SAIL, to that extent, even Vedanta. I think these stocks have been underperformers over the last many months. These stocks will also eventually try and play a catch up for themselves. So very bullish on the metal pack from the next 1 to 3 month perspective, and expecting that breakout of 9500 mark for the Nifty Metal Index. Once we get that confirmation, we could be looking at a substantial 10 to 15% upside further for the index.
Separately, Oil India is also something which is coming up on my radar. That too, if you pull up the candlesticks perhaps, or the intraday chart will tell you that in the last few minutes there has been a bit of a perk up. It's still in the red, but definitely a bit of a buying interest coming back. Do you think, Sudip, it's time to dabble back into the PSU basket, or do you think there's going to be further consolidation in those names?
As I was mentioning, I think apart from power, I think power there is a structural positive. I don't think I will look at other PSU stocks at this stage. Power sector definitely continues to deserve attention even at current levels. Amongst all other PSU, I think post correction BEL, this is Bharat Electronics, that looks good, and of course it looks good from a long term point of view, not for short term benefit. One has to remember that Bharat Electronics caters to both Air Force, all Air Force, Army, and Navy. Also, they have started exports, and the company has been very efficient always. Performance has been good. So yes, the valuation even now is a bit stretched, but I think for a long-term investor, it's a good entry point post the correction.
That's that on the PSUs and of course BEL in specific. But Sudip, for banks, do you also expect a meaningful recovery? I mean, it's already started to happen, but it's just that we've had so many false starts. Does it seem like sustainable this time?
think it is bound to happen, Aisha. The way I look at it, interest rates are bound to come down. It's just a matter of time before even in India, interest rates starts coming down. And definitely the banks, efficient ones, will benefit disproportionately when interest rates do come down. So we have to keep that in mind. Of course, there is this fight for low-cost deposits, and that's going to intensify in the coming months. Credit demand is increasing, so banks who are able to mobilize low-cost deposit will, and of course lend effectively, will be the winners. And in that matter, I think I will put my vote on efficient private sector banks. I would love long-term investors to continue looking at HDFC Bank. They can look at amongst the smaller banks, IDFC First Bank. I think deposit mobilization there is happening at a rapid pace. Balance sheet is improving. COVID-related write-offs have been taken. So I think these are the banks where I think I'm bullish. Also taking advantage of the interest rate reduction going forward, one should look at the other NBFCs like gold loan companies and of course housing finance companies. There is an euphoria currently post Bajaj housing finance listing, so things are a bit heated up. But once things settle down in about a couple of weeks' time, one should relook at some of the performing housing finance companies. They are good for long term.
Point taken. So that's the latest on some of these companies. But yes, take a look at Bajaj Housing Finance after those, that massive listing on Monday. And since then, the up move today, at least that stock is in the negative territory, now just consolidating around that 160 rupees mark. In fact, Sudip, that's the case with a couple of other IPOs as well. Ola saw that increased, traction at the time of its listing, then consolidated. The likes of Brainbees or FirstCry also had seen good listing and then consolidated. Any of these recent listings that you still like and would want to bet on if it does come at an attractive price value?
Brainbees solution, which is FirstCry, can be looked at if it comes at attractive value. I think there was not that much euphoria as far as Brainbees solution is concerned. The euphoria can never be compared with an Ola or a Bajaj housing finance. So Brainbees can be looked at.
Kunal, Niresh, Sudeep, all of you, thank you so much as always for taking the time out.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.